Meteorologist Herb Stevens, the skiing weatherman for SnoCountry.com, with the pattern overview for the next 2 to 3 weeks for skiers and riders in the western United States. As always, this feature is brought to you by the nice folks at UVEX Sports. And my headline today is simply, can the uptick in storms and snow that we've seen in the last week be sustained? Because clearly, even though there's been some substantial snow in parts of the west in the last week, the base depths, as far as looking ahead to stretching out the season as much as we can, in most locations they could still use some help. But there is some good news. We do have another fairly sizable storm to talk about in the next 7 days, and I'll get to that in just a moment. But currently, as we look at the watches and warnings from the National Weather Service, this is, again, Tuesday afternoon, and today is the 24th. There are winter storm warnings up in parts of western New Mexico, avalanche warnings in southwest Colorado, where the snows of the weekend are a little bit unstable in spots. You know, we had as much as 30 to 35 inches in places like Durango and Wolf Creek and up to Telluride. So there's a lot of snow, and it's on top of snow that had been baked by bluebird skies for a while. So there are some avalanche issues, so if you're going backcountry, please pay attention to that. Meanwhile, some snow is continuing in northern New Mexico as this storm, the upper level support for it, just sort of sits there and spins. We've got some low-level moisture feeding into it, and that's causing snow and also some graupel, which is sort of like cornmeal mixed in with the snow in western New Mexico. Where the snows were most welcome, then there's more on the way. Elsewhere in the west, no watches and warnings to speak of in ski country today. The jet stream shows the upper level low spinning over Arizona, and this is what's causing that precip in western New Mexico up into the southwest extreme corner of Colorado and across some of the mountains of northern New Mexico as well. Arizona Snow Bowl, for example, north of Flagstaff, has had 32 inches of snow in the past several days. Look at the ridge, though. It's still here. It's poking into the northwest, and that's why things have quieted down there. High pressure sitting over Interstate 80 as it weaves through west central Nevada. But if we look at the satellite picture, the visible shot, you can see that with that big blue H sitting right about there, that explains why there's not much in the way of cloudiness. The clouds are swirling around the upper low in a rather concentrated fashion down here in the Four Corners region. Got a little bit of cloudiness up here in the northern Rockies across Montana. Elsewhere, though, it's bluebird skies once again. So let's hop ahead to Friday, because on Friday, with a northwesterly flow across the west, a shortwave trough is going to make inroads into Washington and Oregon, and I think you're looking at some light snowfall in that part of the United States Friday into Saturday, probably 3 to 6, maybe a little more than that. But the snowfall levels will be down around 3,000 feet. So this is going to be dry snow, certainly helpful, although the Northwest would really like to get whacked with some cement at this point to build up the bases, but we'll take what we can get. We go ahead to Friday, from Friday to Saturday, and the focus of the action is going to shift down into the Sierra, and the Sierra are looking at anywhere from probably 5 to 10 inches of snow Friday night and Saturday, with perhaps a foot on the absolute highest elevations of the Sierra. And then the system is going to progress even further in this general direction as we go into Sunday. Then it's going to start to tap into some Pacific moisture and throw that up into the Four Corners region. And this is the area that I think is liable to get the best snow out of this particular event coming up later in the weekend especially. But the snow will start here in the Four Corners region sometime early Saturday and continue right through the weekend, and I think in the mountains in northern New Mexico up toward Taos and westward to the Arizona Snow Bowl and up to Bryan Head over to Wolf Creek and Durango and Telluride, you're looking at a couple of feet of snow from this again by the time the thing starts to wind down early next week. And on Monday, notice the upper level low is starting to weaken a little bit. And then I'll draw your attention to this little kink right here, and there's another one here, as a couple of systems I think are going to come down the spine of the Rockies and bring some light to moderate snow to Idaho, to the Tetons, to the Wasatch, and into the mountains of northern Colorado coming up Monday and Tuesday. The mountains of southern Colorado will benefit from this first system, and then the focus will shift next week into northern Colorado. At the surface, on Friday afternoon, you can see the precipitation in the Cascades. We still have some upslope snow going into Mexico, and basically at Taos, it looks to me like it's going to snow for the next 6 or 7 days. So if that's your destination over the next several days or over the next week or two, you're in really good shape. We go to Saturday, and we already see surface low pressure there in southwestern Colorado, and the Snow in the Sierras will continue, so it'll be more unsettled certainly in the west on Saturday than we've seen over that broad an area in quite some time. Sunday afternoon, Four Corners low, there it is. You've got the upslope flow enhanced by a high-pressure system on the plains of Colorado, and the snows continue there. And then on Monday, the focus is pretty much down in the southern Rockies with the snow in the Cascades from that weak shortwave that I showed you that's probably going to take a track something like that. So with all that in mind, this is the way the GFS model prints out snow over the next 7 days. The big winners are down here in the southern Rockies, but everybody appears as though they're going to get a little snow during that time period, and that is good news. And the Canadian pretty much agrees as far as the general distribution, although they have the bullseye, again, right down here in the southern Rockies. So a lift ticket to Wolf Creek on Monday looks pretty sweet right about now. 7 days from now in the Canadian ensembles, the focus and the axis of the trough is still in the west, as the jet stream pattern has changed over the last 10 days, and that's what's allowed the action to pick up in the west. It looks as though there's one more potential embedded shortwave here at 7 days. But as we go to 10 days, much of the upper-level energy is actually going to start to spread back toward the eastern half of the country. Although there's a flat ridge here on this particular map, this forecast map, I think the ridge is going to be of bigger amplitude because this warm water out here just supports a ridge. We're not going to get rid of that warm water anytime soon, so we'll see a tendency for more ridging, and that's the same case at 15 days. And there's another reason why I think the ridge is likely to come back and quiet things down after the 4th or 5th of March for a while, and that's the Southern Oscillation Index, which is the difference in surface pressure between Tahiti and Darwin, Australia. When the SOI is positive, as it has been since Valentine's Day up until 2 days ago, that favors a jet stream configuration that allows for the western trough. When it goes negative, here we are with negative values, daily values the last 2 days, that signals a shift of that trough back to the eastern half of the country, and I think that's going to happen about a week from now. So in summary, the ridge is offshore for the time being. That gives us the opportunity for snow. The storm's going to move down the coast late this week and then east over the weekend. It looks as though the southern Rockies, because of inflow from the Pacific, will get the most snow out of this one, but the Cascades, the Sierras, you'll get some snow as well. The northern and central Rockies get some next Tuesday, and then things turn quieter. But for now, we have midwinter conditions just about everywhere. Get out and enjoy them, and get yourself in position for that storm down in the southern Rockies this weekend. You'll be happy if you do. I'm Herb Stevens, a skiing weatherman for SnoCountry.com, for UVEX Sports as well. Enjoy your sliding.